Hello, welcome to the Moon Scarab channel. My name is Ramon. Tarot, with its 78 cards, is an amazing tool. A combination of just a few cards plus our personal interpretation can virtually give us an infinite amount of possible messages. Now, the beauty of these cards is that just one card is a universe in itself, with so many symbols, meanings, and ways to read it. However, on this video, I want to pose 10 questions on real and hypothetical situations in which I can choose only one card. If you want to join me on a VR, please use the following hashtag. I would love to hear your answers. The hashtag is #OneTarotCard. Let's get started. Question number 1. Which one card is the most inspiring to you? To me, it's the Star. This is a card of hope, inspiration, renewal, and spiritual connection. It gives me a sense of peace and reinforces my belief in spiritual guidance and higher powers. Sometimes I see it as a period of emotional healing, and this card is one that renews my faith in the future. Overall, I see the Star as a positive and hopeful card in any reading. But have you ever wondered what star is the one on the Star card? Our closest star is the Sun, right? But the other closest star to us is actually called Proxima Centauri. It lies at a distance of 4.3 light years away in the constellation of Centaurus. However, the brightest star in the night sky, and sometimes the brightest object of them all, is Sirius. It's also known as the Dog Star, or more officially Alpha Canis Majoris, for its position in the constellation Canis Majoris. Sirius is a binary star dominated by a very bright star called Sirius A. It's 20 times brighter than the Sun, and it's just 8.7 light years away. So consider this. Light travels at 300,000 kilometers per second, or 186,000 miles per second. Assuming that the starlight shining in the Star card, was Sirius, at that moment when she was pouring water, that light left the star 8.7 years before, traveling at 186 miles per second, all during 8.7 years. So, and that's assuming that it's Sirius, one of the closest stars. So all that to say that the universe anticipates our needs and offers us a sympathetic ear, a moment of shining hope when we actually need it. This is not predestination. It's just there's a lot of moments in our lives that we fail to recognize when the universe is giving us their hand. You know, I'm the type of person that I love to feed animals. I love to feed birds. There's actually a squirrel that lives in the patio of my house. It's a girl. Her name is Aldi.
Good morning. Good morning.
Last year, she came as a baby squirrel, and it seems that none of the other squirrels liked her. And she was by herself. She came drinking water that I had in my patio. And from that moment, I started giving her peanuts and different types of nuts, and she kept coming. And winter passed, and she came back in spring, a little bit more grown. I think she was pregnant, and she lives in my tree. There's been moments that I've seen cats, feral cats, that I tried to feed, and they run away, even though I'm bringing food that I know that they need. I sort of equate that sometimes with us humans. Sometimes the universe tries to give us, offer us help, the spiritual food that we need, the solution to our hopes, but we fail to see it. We just focus on the danger, on the fearful part, and you know, that's what I see when I see this card. The universe is always there, giving us clues, options, helping hand, trying to assist us in those moments that we actually need it. So yeah, the Star inspires me hope every time I see it. Question number 2. Which one card is the most distressing to you? To me, it's the Five of Pentacles. Every time I see the Five of Pentacles, it brings a weird feeling. To be honest, I entertain the idea sometimes of removing it from my decks. Not seriously, but it's crossed my mind. I don't know. When I see this card, I see like a lot of levels of sadness and pain. First, we have the physical pain. We see a man with clutches. He has a bell around his neck, which could mean that, in medieval times, people with leprosy, they were made to wear bells around their necks, so people would know when they were approached to try to avoid them. There's physical pain visible on both of them. It's snowing, so it's really painful. They're just passing by in front of this wall that has a stained glass, which seems to be an institution of some kind. Maybe they came from it, maybe they're going, or they're just in transit. But there's a strong contrast between both of them. They're just temporary, they're going by. On the background is established, it's secure. And it's not just only the physical pain. When we're sick and we feel physically ill, it affects our emotional side as well. So the pain, I'm sure it affects them emotionally, but also the situation they're in. They're not comfortable. So I don't know, it's a weird emotion. It really depends on the other cards that it's paired with, but that's the one card that every time I see it kind of like ruins my reading. But you have to accept tarot as it is. You can't just cherry pick what you want it to be good for you. You have to accept the whole universe of what tarot comes with, which is in reality life. Life has its good sides, its bad side. But in all honesty, when I see the card, that to me is the most distressful one. I can't help it. Question number 3. Which one card is the most enigmatic to you? To me, it's the Hanged Man. First of all, when we see the Hanged Man, we tend to see it as, just a little guy hanging like a pendulum. But in reality, think about it. This guy is upside down, tied by his ankle. And imagine the pain he must be feeling and all the body weight just on that one point. Not to mention all the blood flowing to his head, being upside down, and still he's illuminated. He has some type of spiritual enlightenment. But I ask, who hanged him or why? Because in reality, the hangman or that style is inspired on a genre from Renaissance Italy called pittura infamante, or defaming portrait. The subjects on pittura infamante include traitors, thieves, and those guilty of bankruptcy or public fraud, often in cases when there was no legal remedy available. It was usually commissioned by the governments of the city-states, and they were displayed in public centers. So at the time, there was a code of honor where shame was one of the most significant social punishments. Women were never depicted, and it generally depicted upper-class men who had the most to lose from character assassination. The act of hanging itself was also significant because affluent criminals will generally afford the privilege of a beheading instead of hanging because it was shameful. And there was an association with hanging in Judas. There are no surviving examples of pintura infamante frescoes because they were meant to be exposed outside, and over time they will fade and just disappear. There's only a few sketches, and they're extremely rare. But the extent of these images seems to be the inspiration of the hangman in the tarot, because it resembles the archetypal of the pittura infamante theme. Yeah, so this card of the hangman is like the most intriguing to me. Just because, was he a thief? Was he a criminal? And through that moment of shame, being hanged, being in a different perspective, he gained enlightenment. He gained a sense of new life purpose. Maybe that was the point when everything clicked, and a different perspective gave him a different perspective of life. We don't know. We just know those facts. What it could have possibly inspired Pixie to use that imagery. But to me, that's the most intriguing card. What do you think? Question number 4. Which one card would you put on a 1,000-year time capsule for future humankind? I think I will put the Empress, because the Empress, I don't know where we're going to be in 1,000 years from now. If we continue at the rate that we are, unfortunately, we are causing harm to this planet. We're destroying this planet. Who knows where we're going to be in 1,000 years from now? Hopefully in a better place. But I think the The Empress represents Mother Earth. There's something primal about this card. It's motherhood, it's rebirth, it's earth, it's I don't know, persistence of life and constant renewal. So I feel that, let's assume that 1,000 years from now, Earth is shattered, or who knows, this, and someone will find this card. I think this card will be like an inspiration of going back to nature, to Mother Earth. I think it will bring a very powerful message to whoever finds it, just because of the depiction. There's something magical about this card. Like I said, it's motherhood. Every time I see this card, I feel like a sense of, I don't know, like nature and security, and I don't know, like I feel I want to run in a field and just like lay there and feel the breeze and be under a tree. That's what inspired this card. And hugging my mother, I don't know, it's a beautiful card. So I will put that in a 1,000-year time capsule, because I think that someone who will find this would definitely be inspired, and who knows, it could create a new movement to renew Earth. Question number 5. If you were elected president of a newly created country, which one card would you use as a flag? I will use the Eight of Wands. This card depicts movement, going forward, speed, direction, and I think it will make a great symbol for the flag of a new country, because that's what every country wants to do. They want to move forward, they want to grow, they want to have a sense of direction, and I think it will be a very powerful symbol for a country. So yeah, and this will be the flag. This will be the flag that I will create for this newly country that I will be president. Question number 6. If you were Earth's ambassador to an alien civilization, which one card would you use to represent humankind? I think the best card that can represent us is the Lovers. Why? Because I feel that this card encapsulates a lot of who we are, where we are, what we are, and what surrounds us. So on this card, we see the figure of a male character and a female, a man and a woman. It has nothing to do with gender expression or sexuality. It's just in the biological sense. It's representing men and it's representing women. The Lovers actually reminds me of the Pioneer plates, now that I think about it. These are a pair of gold anodized aluminum plates that were placed on board of the 1972 Pioneer 10 and 1973 Pioneer 11 spacecraft, featuring a pictorial message in case either Pioneer 10 or 11 were intercepted by intelligent extraterrestrial life. The plates show the nude figures of a human male and a female, along with several symbols that were designed to provide information about the origin of the spacecraft. The Lover's card is actually very similar to the symbology. So I will choose this card because it will represent humankind in different levels. So it will show that us humans in the biological level, we're born a male or a female. I'm not going into gender expression or sexuality, sexual expression. I'm just talking in the biological sense. So it will show us humans. It will show our environment, what surrounds us, plants, minerals, just us humans and where we are located in terms of our habitat. It will show that we have animals, even though it's a serpent that is tempting us. And it'll show that we have an understanding of a higher force, because there's an angel on top of us. I mean, it could be religious, it could be our belief in other forms of life above, talking, about the universe. But it will demonstrate, or it will illustrate, that we have that sense of abstraction on something higher than ourselves. So I think the Lover's card will represent sort of like a micro universe of what we are, where we at in terms of environment, and what we believe as people in the mental level, in the spiritual level. Yeah, so I think if I were Earth's ambassador to a alien civilization, and I had to take one card from the tarot as our presentation card, I will take the Lovers because it encompasses a lot of who we are. All right, question number 7. Which one card represents someone you love? This could be a family member, a significant other, a friend, etc. Someone that you have a strong connection with. I love both my parents. My dad and my mom, they're an inspiration to me. And, they've been married for 51 years now, and they were sweethearts for 5 extra years, so 56 years together. They're still in love, they're still alive. And to me, they've been an inspiration throughout my whole life, both my dad and my mom. But I can choose only one person, so naturally I'm going to choose my mom. My mother is a Leo, so every time I see the Strength card, I see her, because it represents not only in terms of the zodiac, what she is a Leo, but also in terms of strength. Actually, I know a lot of Leo women who are like really, really strong women. So my parents got married at a very young age. My mom she got married at 18 and she had me when she was 19. And after she had all 3 of us, I have 2 brothers, she went back to school. She was already working as a surgery assistant. She's the person who hands the surgeon all the different instruments. She always loved that environment of hospitals, etc. So even after having a full-time job in a hospital, in surgery, working double shifts sometimes, she was going to college at the same time, and she became a nurse. And she worked as a nurse until recently when she retired. And my mom has always been a great inspiration in my life. Sorry. Both my parents, I really love my parents. Everybody says that they have the best parents in the world. In my world, my parents are the best. I'm sorry. But yeah, I love my parents deeply. I talk to them every day. Sorry. On my way to work, when I come back from work, I love them tremendously. I say everything good that I have in my life came from my parents. I'm sorry. They're the most beautiful human beings to me, and I love them tremendously. So it's a pity that I can't include both of them. But yeah, my mom is both my parents, but in this case, the Leo cards reminds me of my mom, and yeah, that's the card I chose. All right, back to the next question. Which one card would you use as the cover of your autobiography book? I think I will use the Two of Swords. Why? We go through life making choices all the time, and we have to balance decisions. Most of the time, we have to do these choices blindly, with lack of information, trusting our judgment, and through that we learn. We feel sometimes that we're getting punches in the dark, and that's with all of us in general. So I feel that this card encompasses that feeling that we've all had through life, and me in particular. If you take a look at this card, even though it's an air element card, there's water in the background. So, and on top of the water, there's waters in movement, so there's air on top of that. So it's the combination of the logic with the emotion. So you have to balance these two things to be able to go through life making your decisions. It's logic and heart, following your instinct, blind most of the time. I think this card will be a great cover for my autobiography book. Question number 9. If you could upgrade a minor arcana card to the status of major arcana, which card would it be? I think I would upgrade the Three of Swords. Why? Because I think during our life path, we go through a lot of moments that really pierces our hearts. Those moments that have I don't want to say stab our hearts, but have like a very deep impact in the deepest parts of our soul. This can come from different sources: love, being in love, the loss of a loved one. Mourning is a feeling that you never overcome. I recently lost my aunt. She was like a second mother to me. I've been fortunate that I haven't lost my parents, but she was like my second mother. And I don't know, I think it's people who had the experience of maybe losing someone even closer to them, a parent, a child. You never overcome that feeling. The feeling transforms. You go from that deep state of pain into a beautiful memory. It just it mutates into something else, but you never overcome it. It's like being in the sea. You're always going to be surrounded by the feeling, but it changes. The currents change. So I think I will upgrade that card to a major arcana status, just because I think it's a very deep feeling and stage that we go in different moments of our life. We never overcome it. It just recycles into something different. We just learn, I guess our fool learns how to transit through those moments to go to the next stage with a feeling of being stronger. So, I will upgrade that card to a major arcana status. And question number 10. If you can mentor one of the pages of the four suits of the tarot, which page would it be and why? I think I would mentor the Page of Pentacles. Why? In our society today, there's a lot of apparent needs, which in reality are not needs. You need the new shoes, you need the new credit card, you need the new phone. And I think young people today, they're bombarded by all these messages of created needs that in reality are not essential needs. But there's a lack of information of financial responsibility, building a healthy financial path for your future. I think there's a lack of knowledge in that sense for our youngsters, and that cascades into a lot of other problems, into emotional problems, which would be the Suit of Cups, into I don't want to say mental problems, but your thoughts will be invested in trying to solve these problems instead of moving forward into developing your capabilities. It also affects your will. So I think I would mentor the Page of Pentacles. That'll help with the other ones, I think. Yeah. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed these questions and listening to my answers. I would love to hear your answers as well. We all have a different opinion. There's no right or wrong, and I would love to hear what you answer. So follow the hashtag #OneTarotCard. Thank you for watching, and blessings to all.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, and share it with someone who might benefit from it. And click the subscribe button for more future videos about tarot, divination, and other esoteric topics.